Rick,
Yeah,
everything?
I think I'm ready.
All right. Well, we'll call it. Meeting of October 1 Board of Zoning Appeals order. And welcome everybody. Thanks, Mike. I just remind everybody this is being recorded. So say what you want to, but it'll be heard again. So. Let's start out with pledge allegiance to the flag.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Secretary, roll call, please.
Andrew Melton. Dan Osborne.
Present.
Andrew Sprotty.
Present.
Barry McManaway.
Good.
John Christ. Present. Also note that our building commissioner, Steve Borski, and our town manager, Kevin Dante, are here.
All right, if everybody's had a chance to look over minutes from August 15th. Entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve the minutes from August 15th.
I'll second. You got first and second. All in favor? Approve that sign. Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Same sign. Approved. Got several cases tonight, so bear with us. Case number 2024, issued by Jeff Hermanson, 44 Venetian Village, Cole, Indiana, partial number to approve variance development to install a 33-foot wind-powered water pump, which is a wind energy conservation system in S1. Have anybody here want to make that? Okay, stand up and present your name and address.
Yeah, Jeff Hermanson, 45 Venetian Village Code.
If you want to explain everything on this.
Yeah, it's, I want to put up a farm windmill that was manufactured back in 1949 and been on a farm over in Illinois for about 75 years, and took it down, rebuilt it, and I want to put it on my farm property to pump water for the animals.
Do you have any discussion or anything on this?
So is there some type of height variance that we're looking at here? What exactly is there the need for?
For S1,
Our ordinance has a section called Wind Energy Conservation Systems.
Okay.
And when it was written, what I heard history today was there wasn't an intent to include such things, but the ordinance never was written with that in it. So anything wind powered essentially falls under that. That's another area our ordinance should be cleared up.
Nice. Okay.
and the reason that was written was to keep from great big towns.
Yeah, I spoke with town council Sean Cerisi on this too, and this was just the best way to go about it.
Yeah,
To go through the BZA.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it shouldn't have required a variance, but the way it's written, it's supposed to include these, but.
Maximum height 35.
Right.
Okay.
So
So basically treating it like an accessory structure.
right now it'd have to be.
I think that's a good one.
Well, not really, it's a wind energy
It's a wind-
conservation
yeah.
system, so.
But, yeah,
I don't have a problem with this at all. I just don't think that there's any,
I don't think it's a problem.
I don't think, yeah.
I don't either, other than, it says it's a S1 district and you said it's your farm. So is it actually a farm? And
It's a hobby farm. It's almost 19 acres of farm ground.
so is it zoned S1 or is it zoned agricultural?
It's under this man.
At the time it was zoned, if I know the history correctly, there wasn't an A1. There wasn't the agricultural. This has been explained. This has come up on several occasions.
But
I think we're gonna investigate kind of doing we talked about that with comprehensive plan, but I think that's the
Well, I
explanation.
believe
Okay.
under that new ordinance that was over the windmills as far as conservation. If even S1 as far as agriculture was all included.
It is,
So
right.
either one.
Yep.
It wouldn't make any difference.
correct. Yep.
All right. Do you have anything else? Public have anything to address on that? All right. We'll go to finding of facts. I want to remind everybody that if you disagree with anything on this, I have to vote no. In this case, there are 5 different things we have to agree on. For general welfare, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. But agree or disagree. 2, development standards. The requirements and development standards for the request use described by this ordinance will be met. 3, ordinance intent, granting the special exception will not be contrary to the general purposes served by this ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in the same zoning district in the same. Do you disagree? And 4, the proposed use will be consistent with the character of the zoning district in which it is located in the town of Cobra comprehensive plan. Other considerations for that, just adding topography and other natural site features, zoning of the site and surrounding properties, drive location, street access, and vehicular pedestrian traffic, parking, including amount located and design, landscaping, screening, buffering, open space, and other amenities, noise production, and hours of any business operation, design, placement, architecture, and building material and structure, placement, design, intensity, height, and shielding of lights, traffic generation, and general site layout as relates to its surroundings. That was for the larger, but I guess that's what we actually get a variance from that. All right. Mind you, again, if you vote to disagree at any time on any of these, go ahead, vote. So at this time, we're gonna have to say what we've got, right? Well, at this time, I entertain a motion to approve these grants.
I'll make a motion that we approve the variance case 2024 B18.
I'll second it. That first and second. So. Anybody approve this? You'll agree by saying aye?
Aye.
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 And any opposed, same one? That's a majority. All right. Thank you very much. Well,
You put yours back in your folder.
Yeah, you did.
I was in the folder.
You want folder?
No,
Oh, I was in the folder.
unless you can have folders.
That's fine.
It all goes to him.
Yep. Folders.
Thank you.
And then next case, number 2024-B19, Petition has been filed by Maureen Dixon, 522 South Main Street, Culver, Indiana. Parcel number 5021211 Mother. To approve a variance of development standard to install fence post requesting 4-foot setback from the front property line and 7-foot setback from the south side yard property. Standard calls for a 10-foot setback. Actually, the front yard 5-foot setback. Actually, a 20 setback. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and
Yep, so I'm Maureen Dickinson at 522 South Main. So I am requesting a variance of development standard to build our front porch. 4 feet, 4-foot setback from the front property lines and 7 from the south, as Barry mentioned. You can see by the drawings submitted that this is a unique platted lot, which is non-conforming by our town standards. Also in the drawings provided, you'll see a structure that we're seeking to build that will be open on all 3 sides. It will include 1 step up across the front of it, across the entire porch. The photos provided show that there already has been a first phase of this project. It was done back in July before we understood we needed to come before you to request these variances. The 12-foot posts have been in place now for over 60 days. You'll see those also. I will add that those posts were already inspected by Marshall County because once they were put in, they came out already and inspected them through all of this. So they have been in place for 60 days already. There have been no incidences causing any obstructions or any things with neighboring homes and comings or goings. We've also submitted photos of what is understood to be the remnants of a very similar porch back in the 50s. Is what we're understanding from the 50s. There were concrete footings on both the north and the south end of the house. And we uncovered or unearthed wood beams that went the extension of the whole house. And I just want to say that it's been almost 2 years. We've been restoring my 100-year-old homes, which was the first home in the Duddleson addition ever to be up. The back hay barn was first, and then came the house that we now live in. We've been doing a lot of revamping it, bringing it a little up to speed, keeping a lot of the history, integrity of the old house and where we are in the town. And right now with the porch, building this porch, I'm trying to keep everything we had to redo from 116,000 gallons of water that came through in February of 2023. We've had to redo a lot of the inside, and we've made a lot of it ADA compliant, mostly because it was the right thing to do. And my husband has some physical ailments that he's on a permanent disability. So I want to make sure he can get in and out of the house, and the front stoop coming just 1 up would make it easier on that porch for him to get in and out instead of the 4 steps coming up and down in the back. So that's pretty much any questions. And I understand there's been some letters, but honestly, the goal here is just to recreate a safe and inviting space on our property while, enhancing the rich history and beauty of the town that we came to retire in. I've been there for over 22 years, 23 years, and we're just hitting the retirement stage and want to make it as easy and, to go forward in this house as possible.
thank you. Mr. Gorski, after you got a letter, you want to read? Yes, sir.
After that, I'll put the public down. You want me to do these first?
Yeah, don't you, I mean,
Yeah, sure. Happy to do so. So, first of all, these 2 letters say the exact same thing, so I'll read one and I'll give you the names and addresses of the 2 people who've signed them. Dear BZA members, this letter is written in support of a variance that our neighbor Maureen Dickinson at 522 South Main Street is seeking to add a front porch area to her home. Over the past 2 years, Maureen has been working diligently to restore her home after her property suffered severe water damage. We are very happy to see another home in our community make necessary improvements to their property while keeping the small town appeal of Culver in mind. Front porches are staple in small towns, and we certainly do not oppose one which will bring visual interest and curb appeal to our neighborhood. Marina shared drawings of the finished design, and I do not have any objection or concern with the open design. It actually looks as if it would have been part of the original home. Sincerely, Roberta Hillman, 516 South Main Street. And I received the same letter from, I don't know who this is, DB at 604 South Main Street.
Yeah, you read one from.
No,
I got it.
You can read it if you want to.
I have copies of this.
Oh.
Next, I have 3 letters that are all duplicate, but each individually signed. So I'll read one of these and tell you the signatures from each. Dear BZA members, I'm writing this letter in support of a variance that our neighbor, Maureen Dickinson, is seeking so that she can add a front porch area to her home. Over the past 2 years, Maureen has been working diligently to restore her home after the property suffered severe water damage. We're very happy to see another home in our community make improvements to their property and to keep the charm of Culver in mind. Additionally, adding a front porch to her home will offset visual interest and curb appeal to our neighborhood. Marina shared drawings of her project, and we do not have any objections to her request. Sincerely, last name is Orangis, and it's 510 South Ohio Street. The same letter came from Phyllis J. Cox, 612 South Main Street. And the same letter came from Kelly Conley, 448 South Ohio Street. There's more.
Support or
I'm sorry.
you said are they in support or not in support?
Yeah.
These are in support.
Okay.
I have more that are in support.
Okay.
I'll read these all just in support first. September 5th, dated to BZA members regarding the variance at 522 South Main. Dear gentlemen, I would like to express my support for a variance that Maureen is seeking for her front porch. I think it will be a great asset to her property and will certainly help to bring value to the south end of town. I understand that her house is situated close to the street, but the proposed porch size is not a hindrance in any way. The current structure has been in place now for well over a month and has not caused any concern while I take my daily walks past her house or when I drive north or southbound on Main Street. Signed, James Schuler, 116 South Street, Culver. Next letter. Dear BZA members, I'm submitting this letter in support of a variance that Maureen is asking for her porch project. The property has been undergoing renovations for over a year, and I can say that we are certainly glad to see that. Maureen has been a citizen of this town for over 20 years. She has worked at several businesses throughout the years and has always taken a vested interest in our community. I have the pleasure of viewing the drawings of her proposed porch, and I believe it will be a wonderful addition to the neighborhood. Sincerely,
I think it's Tracy. Can you help me on the last name? Well, Tracy Sander, thank you.
okay.
Yeah, sorry, I couldn't.
Tracy
look like an
Vander,
L.
Xander,
Sander,
Zander.
that is correct.
209 North Ohio, Culver. The next letter regarding variance at 522 South Main. I am writing this letter support a requested variance at the address above. I've seen the drawings of the finished porch project and I don't see any reason why a variance should not be granted. If I remember correctly, this project began in July before it was stopped pending a variance request. The current structure has been at a standstill for about 60 days, has not disrupted any traffic or walking flow coming from either direction down Main Street. The owners have been very transparent with their plans and have graciously shared their drawings of the project. As a neighbor, I do not have any concerns with the request or the finished project. 519 Plymouth again.
It's Lily, yeah. Lily Lee. That's
What was the address?
515 South Plymouth.
519
Oh, excuse me, 19, that's right. Yeah, sorry, I couldn't remember.
says 519 Plymouth.
Mhm.
Next letter regarding 522 South Main. Dear BZA members, I am submitting this letter in support of the variance that Maureen is asking for her porch project. The property has been undergoing renovations for over a year, and I can say that we are certainly glad to see that. Maureen has been a citizen of the town for over 20 years. She has worked at several businesses throughout the years and always taken a vested interest in our community. I've had the pleasure of viewing the drawings of her porch project, and I believe it will be a wonderful addition to the neighborhood. Sincerely, so I think I read a copy of this. Rosalie Bonnie? Bonine? 710 Red Sunset Avenue.
What was it, 710 what?
710 Red Sunset Avenue. Next letter to Town of Culver Board of Zoning Appeals in reference to the porch on the front of 522 South Main Street. When we came to Culver in 1956, there was a nice porch on the front of 522 South Main, a little close to the Main Street, but I'm sure you can find some of the old structure still there. By replacing this porch to look original would bring back the look of Main Street 60 plus years ago. This house is almost 100 years old. The house is not being removed. It is being updated like many older homes in Culver have been done. Let's preserve some of our historical homes for the future of Culver. In the summer of 1956, I sat on this porch and shaved a wheelchair-bound senior citizen once a week. The cars going past were so close. This porch was about 6 or 7 feet deep and about 20 feet long. But my customer loved sitting there and reminiscing about his younger life. Signed Verl Schaefer, 216 West Cass Street. The next letter from Don Eggbrotten, 510 South Main Street. Town of Culver, dear members of the Building Commission and Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm writing to express my strong support for my neighbor Maureen Dickinson, who has submitted a request for a variance of the development standard for the addition of a front porch to the property located at 522 South Main Street. Owning 2 homes in close proximity to Maureen Dickinson for several years, I've had the pleasure of observing their recent dedication to maintaining and improving their home. The proposed addition of a front porch is not only a positive enhancement to their property, but also a project that I believe will benefit the entire neighborhood. The addition of a front porch seemingly keeps with the character of our community and will add aesthetic value to the area. It will also contribute to the overall appeal of our neighborhood by complementing the existing architecture and landscaping. I understand that the variance is requested to accommodate specific design features that would otherwise not conform to the standard setback regulations. I believe that granting this variance will not only serve the interest of my neighbors, but will also have a minimal impact on the surrounding properties. My viewpoint is the planned improvements will help preserve the charm and cohesiveness of our neighborhood. Furthermore, Maureen Dickinson has demonstrated a commitment to working within the community guidelines, and I commend her for seeking out my input and perhaps input of other neighbors in the vicinity around this project. I kindly urge the town building commission to consider granting this variance. I am confident that the proposed front porch will be a valuable and positive addition to the aesthetics of the neighborhood. Sincerely, Don Egbrot. Next letter is in opposition. BZA members, I am again writing to express my opposition for the variance request by Maureen and Craig Dickinson at 522 South Main Street. I will reiterate my previous concerns for safety, as allowing a porch to be built within the minimum setback creates a visibility issue on one of the busiest streets in Culver. Dickinsons have plenty of room to create outdoor space on the north side of their home that would avoid altering the look of the neighborhood, creating visibility problems and encroaching on the neighboring properties. This option should be explored before a variance is considered. Thank you for your consideration in this matter. Respectfully, Robert Cooper, 528 South Main Street. Yes.
Hey, board member two, board member two. Concerns?
The sidewalk edge is at the property line. Looks like it's about 4 feet to the sidewalk.
We got the survey, you had a survey done.
And the sidewalk edge is the property line.
Which drawing are you looking? Are you?
I'm looking at the one where it's actually started to be built.
Okay, so from the street, you have an 18-inch parkway or easement.
Yeah.
Then there's a 4-foot sidewalk, and then we're asking for an additional 4 feet.
So it's 4 feet from the sidewalk.
So the first step would be 4.
Is that where the property line is?
No, the property line is at the sidewalk.
At
The front edge of the sidewalk.
Front edge.
Front edge, right? So it's 8 foot away from the porch, is that correct?
Correct.
Thank you. Yeah, it is
18 through
to the road. There's an 18-inch easement there for you to, yeah.
So if this variance is granted, I got a couple questions. This variance is granted. The way it looks right now, this is an open porch.
Mhm.
So if this variance is granted, can it be enclosed?
It's not, I don't ever want it enclosed.
I'm just asking, you know, I mean, is that something that could happen?
Yes.
And, you know, also, when you come in front of us, the biggest thing is, I guess, is what is the hardship? I mean, what,
Getting him in and out of the house without having to go up 4 steps in the back to get to the door in the back.
so you're parking in the back and walking all the way around the front to get
That's
him in?
first steps first. I need a driveway. So eventually I have to first get this because he has handicap parking and we're gonna need handicap parking. So I'm gonna need a driveway on the
North side.
north side and on the north side of my house.
Yeah, you've got room.
But that's one thing at a time, you know, I can't keep.
Oh, I understand.
Because that's what I was wondering, why you
Yeah.
park in back, come all the way around to
Right
get in
now
the
I have
house
to.
from the front, didn't make any sense.
Right.
But they could put it in that one. No. I'm not doing that, they're not asking for that.
That's all I have.
Snapchat and everything.
Hey, Dan, to further answer your question, we parked in front for years. When this all renovation came out, all that changed. It's been a battle over the War of the Roses. You know, that property line is, you saw where it was.
Yeah.
So it's difficult for me to be able to have her pull in, me get out and walk up on the porch right now. So the porch is the main concern. It's why we only went to 1 step, so I could get up. We also have a metal ramp that allows me to, if I have to, walk up a ramp.
Further down the road.
Further down the road, we're trying to prepare for our future is what we're trying to prepare.
So once we grant the variance for the fence, that kind of eliminated the pulling up along the side, is what you're saying.
Yes.
100%.
This was tabled because of questions regarding the survey and the property lines.
It was tabled because of the variance wasn't asked for last. Forgot the variance on the side of the house. For the
Or
porch.
had the front variance, but we didn't have the side.
Wouldn't ask for it, correct?
You wouldn't ask for it.
There you go. For the record.
Okay. Did you have a survey redone?
Yes,
And
Yes.
did that survey agree with everything that you had presented?
exactly.
Well, so it was off a foot from the original presentation. They were asking for 8-foot setback, and it's actually from the property line to the foundation, it's 7 feet. So the survey did move it over a foot.
Actually, Steve, that wasn't the difference. The difference was the architect took all of his initial measurements from the abstract, and the abstract listed the house at 8 foot from the property line. The house has been in the same place, the property line's been in the same place, and the actual measurement, which you measured yourself, was 7 foot. So we corrected all the drawings, asked for the correct variance, and added a couple other drawings to verify.
Right, so it was originally asked for at 8 foot. When it was surveyed, found out it was 7 foot, and it was corrected. The request.
How would this front porch line up with other fronts of houses on this road? I mean, I could kind of visualize it, I just don't know.
I thought we did it.
It would be out further closer to the sidewalk.
It is a little closer.
I can't tell you the difference of all of
But
them.
not on all the streets going down Main Street. Some front doors are right on
Well,
the,
yeah, but
yeah.
far
I'm just
I'm
saying the same.
He
thing.
asked visually.
my only concern is you're asking for the 4 foot or additional, I guess it was considered, right? 4 foot additional setback
4 foot from the
from
sidewalk.
sidewalk.
4 foot from the
But,
side.
but you're wanting the full length of the porch from all the way to the end of the house. And by giving a variance for that, being that close to the road, if you want to do anything with that front porch at a later date, or if you sold it, whatever happens and somebody else got it, they would have that opportunity to be able to do anything because that variance stays with the problem. I mean, I myself think that, I know in 1970 or whatever, you show a picture there.
Well, and the one letter is.
Right, and then
1950s, so, yeah.
2023, you put the, whatever, 4 foot wide stoop or whatever you want to call it, would come out, it had 2 steps down originally in the last 2 years, whatever, 3 years.
No, that was done in the 70s.
That porch, it was the picture that you show, the old porch, I bought the house and it was like that. That was done sometime 70s, or I have no idea
Well, I
that
mean,
the one that was just
Right, okay.
repaired.
I mean, that clarifies on that part, but regardless, what I'm getting at is that would be grandfathered in anyway, that particular part. But I'm just opposed to giving the full variance for the length of the house to be that close to the road.
But I'm pretty certain that the letter written said that porch was 20 feet wide by about 7 feet deep. And that's actually larger than this porch.
Uh.
That porch had, from the 50s, was flat with the sidewalk, had one step up into the house. So you asked last time, was there ever a porch there before? The answer to that is yes, there was a porch.
But I was talking about before we took everything down.
Well, that's not really what we understood you to ask, but okay.
But I mean, once the porch is gone, prior a long time ago, if it's done gone for, what is it, over a year, then you would have to reapply to put that porch back, otherwise it's grandfathered to put it in. Can you speak up?
No, I'm gonna hold it right now.
Okay, I mean, that's fine, we're public hearing, listen what you want to say. But I'm, like I said, if we give a variance, it's kind of permanent with the problem. And I like your idea, think it looks great. But in my position where I'm at on the board of zoning field, as far as granting variances that would take that much of the property, and especially that close to the curve where it comes around Main Street, I mean, we haven't seen the results of what property, what, traffic's gonna do once this other subdivision is put in.
But the ordinance only says coming from a driveway that you need 10 feet of visibility. And if you look at drawing A 3.1, it shows where our neighbor parks his Dodge Ram, which is the tallest visual view on the market, and how he pulls out, you have well more than 10 feet of visibility.
What are we looking at?
3.1 right here.
3.1.
This illustration with the truck.
You want to see the bigger one? Here's the bigger one. Actually, I've got it right here. Okay. Everybody knows.
Great on that issue, but still with being that long of a variance in front of the property, I'm sorry.
If there was anything that was gonna come around, you're saying it's something now coming northbound on Main Street that would be detrimental how?
It could be, because that variance is permanent. I mean, somebody puts up a screen porch, everything else, they don't put up on that afterwards, the house is already there, the variance is already.
It is. And there's a house across the street, that has one that is just as close to their sidewalk.
And how long has that been there?
I'm sorry,
515.
We didn't grant a variance for that though.
well,
Are you asking us if we have any intention of enclosing the porch in the future? Because this house is gonna be on our back.
Actually, it's no on that part, because I don't believe you're going to. But I know by putting a permanent allowance for that 4 foot from the sidewalk, that variance stays with that property, so anybody after you can do that. And I mean, I don't care if it's 10 years from now. But it could be 3 years from now. It's a permanent variance. And we've ran into that problem before because people have been allowed to, prior to the ordinances that have done that. And they've turned it off, then they come back 5 years later, somebody else buys it, then they want to put it all the way back.
I thought this was, each case was unique.
It is.
And so you're comparing other houses, and our house is unique and it's gonna be in our
It's
family.
unique, but I'm using your house as an example of what could happen 2 or 3 years. That's what happened before. And it wasn't anything that we have allowed any variance for. I'm using an example that what has happened.
okay.
Is there a difference between a deck and a porch? I mean, is there a difference between a deck and a porch?
No.
If it's over a certain.
I'm just asking.
The answer is no. There's just different terms for the same thing. Now patio would be something ground level.
But
That's.
it comes down to construction
But you can
material.
get back construction.
It
That's right.
is, if it's at ground level, and then also, again, it's construction materials used.
So if 20 years down the road, somebody wanted to enclose this, they would not have to come before the BZA.
That's correct.
Unless the ordinance is changed.
That's what I asked. Same thing. Even though there's not a foundation.
It is, because the posts are set on footings that were inspected, as it stated.
As this lot currently exists, this is a non-conforming lot, whether there's a porch, patio, or deck, it's
I
non-conforming.
don't know square feet of it off the top of my head.
It's a non-conforming structure.
I meant from the road.
Yeah, just correct that. It's a non-conforming structure.
Okay.
It's a non-conforming lot.
The house
It's
is,
a non-conforming lot.
the house is grandfathered and the house is legal non-conform.
Right, yeah, that's what that was.
Lot.
So they're both non-conforming. What you're saying.
So they're really asking for an 8-foot front yard setback, right? Not a 4 foot. They're asking for 4 feet from the sidewalk, but the property line is really 8.
So 4 foot sidewalk.
It's 4 foot of sidewalk, 4 foot of grass, if I understand it correctly. The 18-inch easement would not factor into that. see that the property line's at the 4 foot of the sidewalk. So it's technically 8 foot back from
The property line.
the property line.
Well, the deck will be 4 feet back from the property.
Yeah.
That they're building. It's 4 feet back from the sidewalk, which is really property line.
So the east side of the sidewalk.
Front side of the sidewalk is the property line after the 18 inches.
No,
It's the
The
eastern
house
side,
side,
it's
the
the
eastern
eastern
house
side.
side of it.
That's what I was thinking, but I thought that's what you said.
The
Okay.
east side of the sidewalk or the
Yeah,
west side of the
east-
sidewalk?
east
is the
side.
property line?
East
The
side.
east side, closest to the house.
So that's actually 4 foot. The sidewalk's 4 foot and that's where I thought that's was the case, but yeah.
In the package that we got here now today, looking at page A2.1, you have the street view of 2023, which is what I believe was present before you tore down and started construction.
Yes.
You've now shown a West Street view circa 1970 that was not presented to us before. And I guess my question is, how is this substantiated that this was there before, and why was it not mentioned? And what is the dimension of it? And then finally, it appears that it has it's at ground level with one step right in front of the door. So I'm questioning what's being presented to us as far as I noticed there's several differences and what is correct and
So the last time we were here, we were asked if there was ever a porch there, and if there was, we would like to see evidence that there was. We unearthed the situation, which is what we talked about in there, and it's also the same stuff that Mr. Burl Schaefer said, confirming, exactly the remnants that we found underneath. That there was a porch there, that he cut hair on that porch in the 50s. So this shows what it would look like based on, all you guys, I'm sure, have come past the house. You saw the roof line that was there. So this picture depicts what it would have looked like at that time.
But actually, whatever it was in 1970, you have to look at 2023 was like far different as grand court now.
yeah.
At that time, it didn't even have post in the ground. It had freestanding roof.
Yeah, so that's another one of my questions is when did this all change?
I don't know. I bought the house in 2003. So these are, again, going back, looking for what you guys were asking for. Was there ever a porch that size there? Okay, we found that there was. So we are showing you that there was with the pictures of the unearthed, and we had the architect give a visual based on that overhang and how it looks. Even if you go past today, you will see that that's the way the roof line was for the overhang of that porch. So we just were showing a visual because we were asked to show a visual.
Well, if there was a misunderstanding there, I'm sorry, because what we were asking for, because we couldn't see the porch because it's gone.
Yeah, well,
And we want to know if you were putting the porch back where the porch was prior to tearing it off.
okay, sure, but that's not what you, again, and that's
I
okay.
misunderstand that.
This is
Yeah.
what we're doing, just to show both sides of it,
Right.
because we're trying to be as thorough as
Right.
possible here. And we're trying to work with the architect, we worked with the land, everybody, the land surveyors, who've done everything that you have asked. We asked for hardship, we were asked about hardships, we explained that it was there, if there was ever anything, I'd like to see what it would have looked like. All of that stuff came up previously, and so we're showing that. And you know, the hardship of getting in and out of the house is a medical condition. I don't know what else. I'm trying to,
I understand.
what
all
else you're
that,
asking.
But we still have boundaries as far
I
as what we can
understand
go.
your boundaries.
And I'm not trying to be hard against this. I like the idea, but I do not
I
like
understand.
putting that close to the road for a full variance of how long is the porch? 20 feet. So we're talking about 20-foot area that can be permanent. And that's what I'm saying. And I know you're getting aggravated at me and I'm sorry.
I'm just trying to understand how many, another direction that we're going right now.
Well, we're not trying to send you in any other direction. We're trying to go by what boundaries we have, by what the ordinance can do.
Mr. President, I've heard several members say that one of the reservations is that if it were an open porch, you don't feel like the issue would be there. It's the possibility of that
Of
porch
what
being
can happen,
enclosed.
yes.
Is there a mechanism, and I apologize for my ignorance in this, it's a question I would like to ask. Is there a mechanism to issue a conditional variance in which you issue the condition of no enclosure to this porch? And I don't know the answer. I just want to ask that question. I've heard several members bring up the issue of enclosure.
That's a great question, because I know in my experience, as long as I've been on the board and planning commission, and I've always wanted that to be included as far as a temporary term that could be done.
And I
mean, we thought
apologize, I don't have the
yeah,
answer to that.
But I don't have an answer to that either.
It is an ordinance. It has to be, the requester would have to report it with the recorder's office at the county.
If it could be recorded on the deed itself, so if
Well,
it's
it would have to
transferred,
be, it would have to be recorded at the Marshall County Recorder's Office. And it would be the requester that would have to do that process.
no, if it was sold, there would be a
It would be recorded that
recorded.
that easement has a condition.
And I'm not objecting to that.
Yeah,
I mean,
neither am I.
it can be done. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to find a medium spot where we can do it legally, you know, but,
So
I'm just telling you my concerns is the way it is right.
I'm hearing everyone.
do they have to reapply or just alter the variance request?
You don't have to reapply as a condition you'd put on this meeting.
Right.
Like you
The
did
legal
for the
notice has already been
We did that
published
for the
for
fact,
this, so you'd
yeah.
be putting a condition onto this.
Now, we've got an attorney here. So, you know that.
We're not paying him.
He's not under retainer. Are you open for business tonight, Mr. Easter Day?
I can get you an opinion to be worth what you pay for it.
Well,
Well, you don't want that. You don't want that.
I tend to agree that, you can put a condition on the variance that they could not, enclose the porch without applying for another variance.
Thank you, sir.
And then I agree further that if it's gonna have any teeth, you need to record that at the recorder box.
Now, thank you.
Thank you.
I'll bring donuts next time.
There you go.
I'd like to address the accessibility portion of this. And I'd like to look at, the page A2.1, the West Street view of 2023, where you have that stoop that's about 4 foot by whatever, 3 foot. And you know, we've had discussions about the whole length of what your porch is gonna be. Is there any way that a ramp could be built within that original stoop that could come out,
You know what?
maybe be elevated at some area between the 4 foot,
To the south of it.
no, just straight out the house,
Oh,
okay? On this picture here,
Uh-huh.
there's 1, 2, 3 steps up to the door.
Yeah.
Okay, is there a way that a ramp could be manufactured within the width of what is currently there that could come out that could allow for a wheelchair. That could address the accessibility issue.
But it would be nice to sit outside on the porch, and he would never be able to sit outside on the porch.
And that,
And it,
that stoop that was down, came down after we had a conversation with our mailman, who said he wasn't comfortable walking up that to give us our mail. It was old, rickety.
I don't think it'd be ADA anyway, no more distance.
I don't know what.
I can't speak to that. I don't know.
everything we're doing inside is ADA for a wheelchair access, but
Just to confirm, I said a question on the drawings. So the steps themselves won't go beyond the 4 feet. Or just add one step on it.
I don't have any questions.
I have any more questions? Not, take it to the public. Maybe that,
Can we add a condition?
Yes.
but it would have to be reported. Depending on what the condition is, but yeah.
You would have to move, sorry, when you make your motion, you'll have to motion with that condition attached to it. That's what you'll be voting on, and then post vote, if it is approved, it goes to the recorder's office.
And again, the ordinance is specific, says that the evident recorded proof of recording is beyond the requester.
Or concerns, you can go to the finding of facts.
One question on the finding of facts. It still states a setback from the south side farm.
Right. You're right. But,
That should read.
Seven is correct.
Okay.
all right, remember everybody, if we disagree on any one of these three items, we'll have to vote no. First one is general welfare. The approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. This for adjacent property. The use and value of the area adjacent to the property included in the variance will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. Practical difficulty is the strict application of terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Situation shall not be self-imposed nor be based on perceived reduction of or restriction on economic gain. What the results of this is
You haven't done that, so it's your call.
Or so you can't do it now. You didn't do it before, so you can't do it now.
okay. All right. So under these answers that you agreed or agree upon, and remind you when you vote no on any of these things, your vote have to be split. So at this time, no further discussion. I entertain a motion to approve the variance and note in the minutes that this changed from 8-foot setback from the south side yard to 7 foot.
Mr. President, will you also entertain the conditional?
Yeah.
Did you want to attach that?
And yeah, and what are the conditions that you want to attach and make the motion?
That's why the legal notice was 7 feet.
Huh?
The legal notice was 7 feet. It's just finding the facts. It wasn't.
I make a motion that we approve case 20 24 B19, with the condition that, it remain an open porch.
So,
Yeah, first and second. So, no
Let
other,
me make sure I get this right, okay? Okay, the motion is to approve with the condition that the porch remain open. And also it be duly recorded.
Marshall County, yes.
Duly recorded with Marshall County. We get a second?
Yes.
Yeah, Andrew, no.
Andrew, nothing. All right, so we got a motion made. And I'll read the motion one more time.
That
Motion been to approve.
case,
Yeah.
case 2024-B19 be approved with the conditions that it is for a 7-foot setback on the south side, and that the porch remain open and be duly recorded with Marshall County.
Yeah, if you're gonna note the 7 foot, you want to note the 4 foot in
4 foot
front
front.
also.
yeah,
Thank you.
Let me finish this and I'll reread it. Okay, the motion is that with the conditions that the south side variance, I'm sorry, that the front, give me a second, I'll be back in a second. Motion is with conditions that this is for a 4-foot front yard setback, a 7-foot south side yard setback, and that the porch remain open and duly recorded with Marshall County.
Got that? All right, so with this, we got first and second, so remind you again, if you vote no on anything, I can disagree, then you're right vote. All right, so all in favor of this ordinance, or variance?
Aye.
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 Aye. Did you say aye?
Mhm.
Oh. All right, so any opposed, same sign?
Aye.
So motion carries.
Okay. Do I need to note in the minutes who voted aye and who voted aye?
Yes.
Please. Okay.
Moving on, case.
Thank you.
Thank you. Case 2024-B23, 461 Liberty Street, Belleville, Indiana. Application been filed by Mr. James E. today, attorney on behalf of Liberty Gateway LLC. For variance development standards to allow a front yard setback of 14 feet from the ordinance requirement 25 feet for new front stoop and garage roof height variance for construction of addition to roof.
Good evening. For the record, James Easterday, representing the petitioner in this cause. Some of you are already aware of this project because at the request of the building commissioner, we came before the plan commission at the last meeting and we had the property replatted from 1 1/2 lot parcels to one parcel so we could move forward with this project. And we've accomplished that already and received unanimous vote for that. So what we're seeking on this situation is we're seeking a front yard setback of 14.1 feet, 14 feet, 1 inch, I'm sorry, from the property line. And by my calculations and measurements, that's approximately 30 feet from the street. And we're seeking that setback just for the front stoop as far as the 14 feet. You can see we're proposing a 6 foot by 7 foot open stoop over the doorway just to cover the doorway so the rain doesn't go in the front of the house. And then the house addition is depicted on the site plan, and that would actually be 21.1 feet from the property line. And would be approximately 37 feet from the street.
The side. Some flex from this. The one to the doctor.
Yeah, all my dimensions there are from the property.
You got another.
We're looking at
8 feet. Right, okay. So it goes, the property line goes to the site.
the parcel property line is 8 feet from the curb.
To the sidewalk. That is.
Yeah.
It sits like this. This is the street.
Right, yes,
Right?
right, yes.
Look at the GIS picture. There's the street. There's the property line.
So the other side of the site.
Yeah.
Okay, that's what I was asking, sidewalk, so it's the other side.
Yeah.
It's the east side of the sidewalk, okay, but it's still 30, so 30 some feet to the.
Yeah, it's almost 30 feet plus the line.
Right. Okay.
From the front stoop to the street curb.
And that's 8 foot of grass between the sidewalk and the street. Is that correct? Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a sidewalk there.
Yes,
Yes,
there
there
is.
is.
The property line goes east side of the site.
There's the GIS.
Yeah.
Actually ends right there.
There's presently a stoop there. What is the size of that?
About half the size of what we're looking at. It's a 4 foot and we're asking for 6 foot. Basically.
Okay, so presently the setback is 16 foot 1 inch then.
It's basically.
Is the garage attached to the house?
Yes, it is. Is it today or is it going to be?
Is it today?
I don't think it is. The garage attached to the house. Okay, it is today, I'm sorry. I was out there looking at it and I forgot.
Don't be into the house.
No.
But it is trash.
And I don't know what this is worth because you look at each case individually, but I went up and down the street and particularly on the east side of the street, the average setback is about 8 feet from the property line. Those on the east side are quite a bit closer.
Mhm.
The ones on the west side are running one place from the east.
So, I mean, you still pretty much in line.
Yeah,
How far does that property line go to the north?
well, as we replatted it, it includes, this and this.
Okay, so there's no problem with
No.
pervious and impervious.
No,
Okay,
no,
okay, right, yeah, right.
Tons
Okay.
of square footage.
Yep, okay.
Because we took a lot and a half and replatted it into one to make your building commissioner and town happy.
So I have a question.
Okay.
Maybe I missed something. Is the garage being tore down and rebuilt?
It's going to be rebuilt, yes. And you and I discussed that,
I'm
and
just
you
trying to
said
recall it.
that that would not need a variance if we kept the same footprint.
Correct, and it's attached, so.
Yeah.
Height is part of the segment, wouldn't fall as accessory structure since it's
Correct.
attached, it's part of the house. So I'd like to clarify further also. So it's just a front setback that you're asking for?
Basically, we're asking for front setback.
So, my apologies, because as building commissioner, I can give up to 10 feet if it lines up with all the other structures.
Well, I thought that too, but you didn't make that call, so I filed.
And I missed it, so it's my apologies.
Yeah,
So can you make that call now?
I can, I don't know why not.
but we're here, I just assume you
I'd like to
approve.
bring up one more thing before you do. Because I still want to restrict that for the stoop. And I don't want to give a variance for the full. From that,
I would be as depicted,
as depicted,
as depicted.
and I would like that.
That's what you would be approving.
So you said it was a
On
6
approval,
by
I would like to call it that.
6
6 by
by 7.
7,
Okay.
yeah, and it's
Yeah,
open.
feet.
If you look on, I think, the third page from the back. You get that sheet.
I mean, if you can still do that, and hold it to that, fine.
I can, up to, I can do no more than
I
10
mean, we
feet.
would need a variance, but.
This is all the time.
And we'll be on that.
Right, yeah, yes. Right. That's right, yeah.
That's the street.
But it needed to be.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
So but based on our ordinances, I can allow no more than 10 feet. So this is clearly that. Mr. Easterday like it official for,
Since we're here and we're paid for it, and all that, I just approve it. That's your party, my party.
So. At this point. We,
do your findings fact.
you sure that finding back, even though we're putting it over to the building commissioner.
You're not,
No,
you're still
you're not.
requesting the variance to go through this process, which is okay.
All right,
So that way we make it official.
Well, yeah.
all right.
Oh, you do? It can be an excuse. Yes, sir. Hall pass.
All right, finding facts again, disagree. Did anyone go vote no? So, general welfare, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Agree or disagree? Adjacent property, the use and value of the area adjacent to property, including variance, will not be affected in a substantially adverse manner. And number 3, practical difficulty, the strict application of terms of the zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Situation shall not be self-imposed, nor be based on perceived reduction of or restriction on an economic gain. That time we're in, motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve, variance 2024-B23.
I'll second it.
It's on fiction. We'll put subject for seven.
As requested.
Yeah, that's what, yes.
Yeah, I just want that in a minute.
Okay,
Six, but.
as presented,
As presented.
Presented 6x7.
Yes, second.
Second. Okay. So this time, all in favor, of the variance be approved. The sign saying aye.
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 Any opposed? Same sign. Moving on.
Thank you, sir.
Case number 2024-B24, 203 Rainbow Drive, Broken again. Application and file. James Easterday, attorney on behalf of BLA LLC, to approve variance of zone standard to allow front yard setbacks from Lake Street of 10.5 feet from ordinance required 25 feet, south yard setback 3.5 feet from ordinance requirement of 10 foot for deck reconstruction as per the code for this case. Presently located.
So
Go ahead.
the deck was tore out and the new one was put in. And I talked to the owner
Oh.
and it seemed like the contractors may have taken some liberties building the new one.
Oh, really?
And it went beyond where the original deck was.
Oh, really?
So the comments I have, first of all, is it looks really nice.
Yeah.
Second, the neighbor next door, if you look at the last page, there's a tall structure on the back part of the deck. The neighbor next door called one time and said, shouldn't care for that block to. With all due respect, I'm not sure what from those windows, but that's the information I have.
So it has, should have been very frank. I'd say.
Such a humble 35 feet.
I must confess, I got into this just a little bit late, because there was conversation between the owner and the building commissioner before I got involved. And it appeared from what I can get from the owner is that he asked the contractor to rebuild the deck. And the contractor was concerned about the fact that the stairs at that time went off the deck to the east. And he felt that that was a hazard, particularly since it was a bed and breakfast and the fact that there would be people coming in and out of there. So the contractor kind of took it upon himself to extend the deck out far enough to let the stairs come off the north side.
Mhm.
And that gave less down, and then it went down again. But in doing that, he actually expanded the deck from what it was before. And so that's basically what I think has happened here. Again, as he correctly points out, if you look at the average setback of the street, The first house to the south is about 5 feet closer to the street than this one is. And just because I have to jab you guys a little bit, the building attached to this building encroaches 10.5 feet into the right of way. So if you take the average setback, it's kind of interesting on this particular street. But
This is
basically,
just a block up.
Right, we'll find a lot of interest.
Not that you measured this or
Right.
I measured
Yeah.
it.
Not that we're comparing to the.
Yeah. But, well, it's still on Lake Street, so I thought I'd go down Lake Street.
So the south side of this deck did not change.
That's correct.
Okay.
That's correct.
That
It's
is-
exactly the
any-
same.
any Further to the south, it's exactly where it was. It basically came off to the east to accommodate the steps going down.
That's exactly right.
Like 3 feet.
You're talking
Like
3
3
feet
feet.
bigger?
Yeah.
What your
That's
action steps, not the actual deck, is
That's
that
right.
much bigger?
Yeah, that's exactly what it did. And well, the steps go off the north end, so the deck itself is the only thing that came out further.
Okay.
And like he says, it was a beautiful job. Contractor did a great job.
I have a little curious question here. Since this is a corner lot, but it actually is three corner lots,
Three front yards.
you know, so how do you deal with that
325.
in that it's got 3 front yards?
We call the front of the house is where the front door of the street address is at.
Right, but
Okay,
if you got a
That's
25
gonna
foot
be the
setback
front.
up the street. But
and I'm just trying to think of,
Yeah.
some of the nuances that we've had with corner lots before.
Yeah.
And setbacks and fences and this and
That's
that.
25 feet up.
It's my opinion that this lot has 3 front yards.
Yeah.
Is it historical?
So does it have a backyard or does it have a side yard?
That's a good question. And I agonized over that when I put this together. Because it doesn't particularly matter in this case, because it's the same. But that is a good question.
Yeah.
I think I would call it a rear yard, but I don't know. It could be a side yard to Lake Street.
For what is?
Typically, what I've done is I've called the front of the house where the address is the front, and then immediately on the opposite side, the rear of the house.
But it really wouldn't really that matter because all 3 would still have the same setback,
Yeah, in this case, I think, yeah.
whether the front yard, side yard, but the side yard comes off the street. It doesn't become another front yard, it becomes a side yard.
The lot itself has its own different.
Right,
And
that's
that's-
a different description, but the
To
same.
be honest with you, that's part of my pitch as to why this is a unique lot that has
Yeah.
hardship.
But this, does this affect the only side yard?
Yeah, it only affects the Lake Street, is that what it is? Lake Street. It only affects Lake Street.
So there's one street, it's not the one that don't have a street. Build that back without a permit?
He wasn't, yes, that's correct. It was built without the he didn't. They're replacing it in kind,
Right,
so it didn't really need a permit. But again, the contractors built more than what the owner expected.
Is this a local contractor?
I don't know who the contractor was.
Yeah, I want to know because they knew what it's a lot easier to ask forgiveness than
permission.
permission.
I don't see anywhere where that was, any of this would have been intentional.
Oh, that's not pleasant.
well, I mean, I know these people didn't realize even that they needed a permit when they built this stuff, too.
Really?
I was just curious.
Finding facts.
Yeah,
This is special use because it's a bed and breakfast.
So it's not a special use, it's variance.
It's very.
It's on the.
Yeah, but we're
special use. We're finding of facts.
yeah.
But
You don't have to change it if you scratch it out.
So
It says right here, covered in breakfast permanent closed.
So if you would be kind enough on the finding facts to
Scratch it out.
scratch that
No,
out.
it's not special.
No, it's a variance.
It's a variance of development.
So what are we voting on then? We're still gonna vote on all those things?
No, it's just the 3 that you use for variance.
Approved, so the first 3.
First 3. No, I mean, sort of.
First 3, right?
First two, basically the first two.
Okay, so what are we doing with this now?
We're approving the 10-foot frontage.
No, with that, find the next one.
Front yard.
I don't have a copy of that.
Special use.
Special use, but leave special exception.
No, you can cross out special use exceptions and just put VOD variance of development.
There you go.
Yep, just like that.
And then we're not gonna do which questions?
I'd say 3, 4, and 5.
The 3.5.
No, 3, 4, 5. Say we don't even need to do 3, 4, and 5. It's the first two.
I would do 1, 2, and 3.
1, 2, and 3.
Do 1, 2, and 3.
All right.
Yeah.
And again, I apologize.
That's all right.
Those were automatically generated. And I don't always proofread them at times. And I need to.
Not on your end.
Well, with all due respect, we gotta get you out of the county.
Yeah,
They drive me crazy out there because I can't even look at anybody else's
crossing out 4 and 5.
Okay.
And explain to
I couldn't look at this application because I didn't.
DOD.
Oh, DOE.
It would be nice to be separate.
Crossing out
Are we?
special use and crossing out
We're our
special.
own county down here.
I agree.
Our own jurisdiction.
Right there. Right there.
Here is county.
I tell people over and
Right,
over,
cowboy.
Culver is a very unique community.
I tell people that too. We've got
My
very
mom
unique
called me
jobs.
unique. I don't think she meant it.
Yeah, I did not. Yeah. variance.
How many tax dollars does a lake generate?
All right,
Property
let's stay on.
Yeah, but
But stay focused.
Stay with me.
I can't count that out.
These ones from NIS.
so do you have a motion to approve? I'm sorry.
Yeah, well, we haven't found finding facts yet.
Okay.
I have to excuse myself for just a second.
Sure, we'll wait. Now you can get.
Since he's excusing, from what I can tell, Dan, the lake generates about 80% of the Union Township assessed value.
Mhm. That's pretty,
But, okay, what percentage of that as the county does it generate?
I don't know for the whole county.
let's just say this, every time we have been factored in the last 3 years in any study involving Marshall County, we are an outlier. This particular part of Union is an outlier. And it throws the numbers haywire when you try to look at something like for Ochre grants and whatnot. And it almost has to be offset, Dan. How much they don't say, but every time I'm sitting in a meeting up at like One Marshall or anything, they just literally put us in a corner.
Which is,
So whatever that means.
it's a good place to be.
Sure, why not?
I can say, yeah.
Yeah.
But is it,
So-
is the effect positive or negative toward like grant treatment like that?
Well, negative, it depends. I mean, an Ochre grant you're looking at, or anything that deals with rural poverty, right? It's
Yeah.
negative. So you have to be
Yeah.
balanced. And we're back.
I figured as much about that. All right. We're going through the finding facts. Number 1, approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Development standards, the requirements and development standards for the requested use as prescribed by this ordinance will be met. And ordinance intent, granting a special exception will not be contrary to the general purposes served by this ordinance and will not permanently injure other property or uses in same zoning district and vicinity. Ready to entertain a motion?
A motion that we approve this variance of development 2024-B24 for a front yard setback Lake Street of 10.5 feet with deck reconstruction. I second.
Discussion? Any approval? The sign saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, same sign? Motion carries.
Good
evening.
We need a one system. So we need a one system.
Like I say, I'm just complaining, I'm waiting, but I couldn't get on to look at this permit application because it was made by somebody else.
It's not consistent.
And to me, it's public record. So,
Thank you.
thank you, gentlemen.
All right. Last case. Sorry, I had to wait.
Well,
Case
yeah, did
twenty
they correct?
twenty-four, -325. Petition has been filed by Jake Rogers on behalf of Amy Van Cleve, 216 Marmont Street, Colbert, Indiana. Requesting an 8-foot variance from the required 10-foot east side yard setback requirement to rebuild it.
Yes, so it's, so my name.
Yeah.
Okay, Jake Rogers, do you need my address or that address?
Your address.
Okay, 20,
Yeah, your address.
my address, 20979, State Road 10, Culver.
79,
20979,
State Road 10.
yes. Okay, so, pretty simple, there was an existing deck, that was 13 by 13. They want it 13 by 15. Her husband, she's the homeowner, but her husband is there off and on. Their main residence is in Texas. He stayed down there. Anyway, he's a disabled veteran. He told me a while back that like 60% of his body is titanium, so he has a hard time getting in and out. That extra 2 feet is just going to basically give him more room to maneuver in there. The deck, I don't know what picture you guys have.
We can't
So,
see.
but we can, right.
The deck was
Right,
recently
that's where I
torn
was
out.
going with this.
Okay.
She had a siding contractor come and he tore the existing deck off.
Okay.
But the existing deck was 13 by 13 and I want to go 13 by 15. Which puts, the 13 puts it 8 feet from the property line.
And that's to help increase access into the house.
Can you
Yes.
show us?
See, that show us where it's going off that door.
Yeah,
It's by those utility boxes.
So it's gonna, how far from the garage does it go out? It comes out this way, right? There's your.
it'll come out like right off this door and go this.
Oh, so.
So
But I'm
basically,
saying, so I'm saying, so if you look at right here where the garage is,
Mhm.
does it come out further than the garage or is it back?
it'll be further, I did not measure that, but it's gonna be, it'll be 13 out from the house towards the alley.
Missed that.
I would say probably.
I was gonna say, that's about 13, isn't it?
Pretty
And
close to
so
the
it's
garage.
basically that along the house is where you're gonna go to 15.
Yes.
It's not you're not coming out any further than it was before, but you're just going over 2 feet.
Yes, I'm going 2 feet.
Okay.
Closer to the street, it's to the,
Right, I got it, to that sign.
so closer to Marmont, yes, closer to closer to the pole, the utility.
That's Marmount, yeah.
You're going 2 feet.
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
all right.
Like I said, that's not a good example because the deck is gone, but
Did you say what size?
the new one will be 13 by 15.
But you're not gonna extend
All right,
past the front of the
so
house
coming
at
from the
all.
door, house is what, 24, 25?
15, basically from the corner of the house, 15 over towards Marmont.
He's coming like along this way. If he was 13 feet out,
So truly, you'll
By
be
13,
just short of
he's
those
coming.
windows.
2 more
Yes.
feet this way.
That's where I've got you.
It's gonna stop. Can you see the
No, right
electric
here.
box?
That's where it's gonna
It's
stop.
gonna stop right before that
That's what I
electric box.
thought.
It's bad.
Yep.
On the
So,
garage?
see, yeah, well, it's gonna go like that.
Yeah.
Instead of 13 feet here, it's gonna be
Right.
15.
It's gonna
Right.
stop right before that electric.
Okay, that was my next
Yeah.
question.
So the practical difficulty was so it could increase.
Just easier access to the house.
Yeah, I had it drawn after, but I had drawn full length.
Yeah, and I drew it
Realized-
on like when I filed for the stuff, I drew it on there, but apparently that's not part of what you got, so.
Yeah,
It's,
I figured where he was going to the door, but then I saw after I drew the line over from the
Yeah,
house.
it's angled. It's a kind of a bad picture to really look at it.
Well,
Yeah, it's kind of,
Yeah, so I'm just,
You're a builder, you can see it.
it'd been more, but if you had it straight on,
yeah,
it'd have been a
and I
lot
don't
easier
know,
to
I don't even,
visualize.
he must have taken this, I didn't take that.
Yeah, I think so.
You know what I'm saying? If it was straight on, you could actually visualize.
Do a better job
Midlife
next
when
time.
it comes to parks.
Okay. So,
Yeah.
as another apology tonight, I'm sorry for my lack of photographic skill.
Photography lessons.
But yeah, maybe I need to.
Did you say the husband
Critical.
was disabled that?
He's a disabled veteran, according to what he told me. I just met the guy. So he told me he's a disabled veteran and most of his body is titanium. He could be totally full of crap. I'm just telling you what he told me.
I just got this other feeling.
He does walk a little funny, so.
Mr. President, thanks.
All right, anybody have any more concerns? We found out where it's going. How tall is this gonna be? Just a,
How tall?
I need that.
It's just like a foot off the ground.
About level with the door.
Yeah, level with the door, which is like a foot or 18 inches.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
you're not building
No,
a roof over it or anything like
it's
that.
gonna be a deck. Right now, I still have to check with him on the other side of stuff. I don't think it's even gonna have a rail on it because I don't think we have to have a rail unless we're free.
Yeah, it's 32 inches, 30.
So it's basically just gonna be a wood platform, maybe one step off of it, but.
Yeah.
And there was a previous deck there.
It was tore off fairly
It
recently.
was 2 feet less, whatever than what this.
Everything about there.
Yeah, I have no more questions about it. Have
No.
anything else done? Anything else to add?
I think so.
Okay, we have-
I think I've added everything I need to.
All right. Any more questions? We'll go to finding facts. Yep. Okay, we'll get ahead of you. General welfare, the approval will not be injurious to public health, safety, morals, and general welfare of the community. Agree or disagree? Adjacent property, use and value of the area adjacent to property, including insurance, will not be affected with substantially adverse manner. And number 3, practical difficulty, the strict application terms of zoning ordinance will result in practical difficulties in the use of the property. Situation should not be a self-imposed, nor be based on a perceived reduction of or restriction on economic use. Everybody done with this? I entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we approve variance 2024-D25, requesting an 8-foot variance and require 10-foot east side yard setback.
I'll second.
You got first and second?
Who seconded?
Strauss.
Vice President.
Oh.
And again, I just remind everybody, all items have to be agreed. So, got first and second. So, anything? Approval by saying,
Aye.
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 Any opposed, same sign?
So the motion carries.
Motion carried.
And off the record, I am not the one that built the one at Pleasant.
Well, it's on the record still.
Well, that ain't what Culver's gonna understand tomorrow. Yeah, Jay Roger put that on there too.
It's a pecking, hey, it's a pecking order.
All right.
Thanks. You're set to go.
Yeah.
You're all set to go.
You're good.
One row you can do.
Unless you
Thanks a lot.
want to stay for the festivities.
That's right. Good.
Thank
you, guys.
Don't let me cover it all.
All right, new business, haven't made this new business. All right, we no longer have the, building commission report, so next meeting will be at 6:30 p.m. Thursday, October 17th, 2024. And that's on the item.
Motion to adjourn.
Yeah.
Somebody second.
Second.
That boy.
Who motion?
Vice President.
Before he even asked for it.
Vice President.
It was gonna.
No.
Do we have a second?
I told,
Okay.
I told Stratty, if you said.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thanks, okay.
Been in your eyes for 45 minutes, that motion too.